Okay, so we're standing outside the Mariners pub, Three Mariners, the Jolly Mariners. This is the pub that was attached to Lancaster Castle. There's tunnels leading from Lancaster Castle directly down into this pub. What they used to do, they used to bring the prisoners down here for the final meal the night before the execution. And the rumour is that the Pendle witches were actually brought down here for their final meal. So we'll just walk up and take a little look at the front of the pub. You could tell how old the pub is by the brickwork.
Yeah.
It does date back to the 1600s, but I'm guessing that the roof probably would have been just as low down as like the lamp, and then the top bit will have been extended on because you can see there's a line across. Buildings back in them days, they only went ground level, they didn't have floors in the inns and pubs back in those days. So those two levels would have been added later on. So I think back in the Pendle Witches' day, we're just looking at the first level. But they would have come down through the tunnels. And inside this pub, there's some history on the wall that tells you that there is tunnels, but they're blocked off now, you can't go in them now. But there are tunnels leading from Lancaster Castle straight down to this pub so the jailers could bring them down for the last meal, take them back up. And then that was the night before the execution, when they were going to Gallows Hill for execution. They parade them through Lancaster city centre so that everyone could have a good look at them. And just make sure this isn't going off. Then there is another pub in the city centre which is going to be packed out with students right now, but there's another pub in the city centre that has a plaque on the wall saying the Pendle Witches, and the other prisoners going to Gallows Hill would have had their last drink here on the way.
It's two big rats.
Imagine what that would have felt. What?
Two big rats.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, it's nature. I mean, God, Manchester's worse, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
sorry about that.
Think about it, right? You imagine what that were like. You're already, I mean, alright, me and Andy practice witchcraft, yeah, let's have a thing. You get arrested, you get taken to Lancaster prison, you're thrown in a dungeon for 2 months or 3 months or 4 months. And it used to be so long because the judges only came twice a year to Lancaster to do the court cases, so it was like they had to stay until the judge come back. And this particular judge that was in charge of the Pendle Witch case was looking for a promotion. He wanted to go and look at the Old Bailey, the Newgate in London, and that's why he took this case on board. So he made a big thing of it. And, you think about it, you're in there, you've got not decent food, no sunlight, you're in the damp, you're sick, you're in with about a dozen other people in a sort of 10 foot by 10 foot cell, 20 of you in there. They're throwing slot buckets at you and that's your food. The rats like these running around probably. If you had money, you could buy like a decent sandwich, a loaf of bread, or you could buy cereal, you could pay the jailer to go out and get you something nice, Not like Deliveroo or McDonald's or anything like that, but they would have been able to pay for a nice loaf of bread, a nice block of cheese, some fresh fruit, if they had money. In London, Tower of London, the prison side of it anyways, some of those prison cells there, like Francis Drake was locked up, Walsingham was locked up, they were paying like hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and they had like 4-post beds, roaring fires, roast dinners brought to them every day, all the books they wanted to read, visitors, and it was more like a hotel suite really because they had the money to pay for that, although they were incarcerated. So can you imagine you being paraded through the city of Lancaster and you're on charge for being a witch, and everybody's there throwing things, jeering, throwing rotten vegetables. The rotten vegetables cart stall will be set up and you'll be able to buy cauliflowers, cabbages, tomatoes to throw at these people. The souvenir stands will be set up, selling little miniature witches and little pieces of little miniature hangman's ropes and things. Take a souvenir home, celebrate your day, take the kids, have a picnic, let's all go to the execution. That's how it was back then when people got executed. So we're going to walk down to St.Georges quay now, and there's a history of ships coming in here. It's one of the places where ships did come in. Although it wasn't as busy as Liverpool and Bristol, it still was an important port in this part of England. There's all flats here now, but back in the day it would have been all wooden buildings, timber buildings, Tudor buildings, warehouses where people would have stored wines and sugar, tobacco, anything they were bringing in really. So we'll get down to the quay because there are still some old buildings along the waterfront there.
Yeah, there is.
And there is a really good museum that we once went in.
Yeah.
Tells you a lot of good history, seafaring history and stuff. Over on this has just started flickering, so we'll keep an eye on this because if anybody would like to come forward who's connected to the Lancaster shipping trade, And I do believe that Lancaster was one of the cities, along with Bristol and London. Oh look, it's flashing already. They used to transport slaves. So the slave transportation, how that worked in this country. Slaves were brought from Africa into England, and then they were taken on to America and sold to plantation farmers. As far as I'm aware, they were treated very well in this country, and there were a lot of laws put in place to make sure that they were looked after if they came to work with families in this country. So we told the story at Heysham Churchyard about the slave from Africa that ended up becoming a part of the family, and they gave him a Christian burial at the end of his days. If slaves stayed in England, one of the laws that the English pushed through in the 1700s was that any slave from Africa or any other continent would be a free man if they stayed in England.
Yeah.
So we were one of the countries that actually tried to abolish slavery and tried to give people more freedom to live their lives how they wished when they came to live here. And that's something that's always stayed with us. And even though there's a lot of people banging on about asylum seekers and all that now, it hasn't really changed because we've let people in from all over the world for centuries. Some of these laws go back centuries, so it isn't just a recent thing. Right, so we'll walk down to the older buildings and we'll see if we get any activity on this meter. And if we do, we'll stop and ask out and run the EVP recording. So this is the quay. It would have been all buildings, but if we go down, the buildings get older. I'm ready for it. People along this quayside, please. Would you like to come forward and make yourself known? If you come close to me and Andy, you can set up the equipment. As we get further down, we'll go to the older buildings, so I'm guessing we might get more activity down that way. A lot of these buildings on the front here were like storage, custom houses, where if you came in with a ship, you had to go to the custom house and declare you were bringing in.
Yeah.
That you were bringing in tobacco or coffee or rum or whatever, your sugar, whatever you had to go and declare what you were bringing in.
Yeah.
How the pirates worked. They brought the same stuff in and hid it in caves and didn't declare it. That's why they were pirates.
Yeah.
But legally, you were meant to declare what you were bringing in from other countries. So ships going to Africa, in India bringing back spices and teas and things like that, we're supposed to declare it. And obviously a lot of stuff slipped through. Declared, but as today, like the black market has always been in place.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's get down to the water's edge here and let's just see if we can get anything, because there would have been wooden steps here.
Oh yeah, there would have
all
been
the way
down to the
that they would have used to get in and out, the stuff out of the ships and everything. So let's just leave that on there. I know in London they have all different steps going into the Thames, and each set of steps had a name. And if you were sort of like a passenger going from London and you wanted to go around to Cornwall, you would go by boat and they would give you a ticket with the name of the steps, the landing steps. So you went to those landing steps and the boat would come in and you get on that boat and it would take you around to Cornwall, or if you were going the other way, Dover that way, it would come and take you, or if you were going up to Newcastle. And many people don't know, but Captain Cook, his first job was running one of these packet ships up to Newcastle and back. He took passengers and he also took coal, and that's how he learned how actually to sail a ship. So, and the same thing happened in all of these cities that have got these estuaries coming in. There was landing stages. Ships would come in, offload the goods, and they get put into these warehouses. These were warehouses, these houses that have been renovated into flats now. The shape of them, you can see that they were still warehouses. This isn't flashing, so let's move further down where the older buildings are and see if we get anything from them. I'd like to try and give you a little bit of history of these older places. Because people just cycle up and down. A lot of people don't actually know what these buildings were. These were you can still see the shape of where they used to lift up the goods and hoist them in, like on a pulley system. But the older buildings are down here. These buildings are so old, they're actually leaning with their doors and everything. This pub down here, everything's leaning. But if you go on that side of the river, you can get a really good view of all this leaning over. Alright, so we're starting to get something on this now. You actually get into the older part now, so that's probably why. It covers the custom house, the tax house, that's probably why, isn't it? Did you not like to pay the tax and the duties on your goods? Did you get into a quarrel with the custom house about how much tax you had to pay? Because I think what the problem was, a ship could set sail and it knew it was going to pay, say, £250 in tax when it got back. But whilst they were away at sea for like a year or 2 years or whatever, the laws had changed, and by the time they got back, the government wanted 500, and they're like arguing with the custom house, but you wanted 250. Yeah, but since you're away, laws have gone pushed through, and now it's 500. So there was lots of quarrels going on at these custom houses over the tax. A bit like today, really. Nobody likes to pay the tax. It flickers when we talk about the tax. I'm guessing that it's someone who really was disgruntled about the tax, or perhaps it was someone who worked for the tax. We're coming up to the custom house actually, so perhaps... Did you work at the custom house? Is that why you're coming close now, flashing this meter? Was that your job, or did you argue with the custom house because you had to pay so much money every time you came in? Or did you not pay the tax what you were supposed to pay and they caught up with you in the end? Because then you would have ended up in Lancaster Castle, probably prison. So, and if you just film that building and show it leading. So these are the buildings that are actually leading to that old.
Up in at the Georgian Dragon.
And then past the Georgian Dragon, those are all the wharf houses. Were same like the ones in Holland, Amsterdam, were. And some of them have still got the wooden pulley beam at the top where they used to hoist up the things and take them in to the warehouse. That's the custom house, that one there. It looks like a town hall. That was like the tax office. You had to, when your ship came in, you had to go in there, book your shipping, who you were, where you'd been, what you were bringing in. All the paperwork, the figure work was done, and then you had to pay your dues before you could bring your goods in for selling, for sale. So that was the original custom house. I think it's now the museum. Should we go over to it?
I think it is the museum. Yeah. Yeah, we did.
There's always been drunken sailors and pirates, and there's still drunken sailors and pirates. Alright, so we've still got some houses here. Alright, let's put this on here.
Shall we get out?
Are there any spirit people here with us tonight, please? Who'd like to come forward and talk to us about your time as a sea merchant, ship's captain, officer, perhaps you were just a sailor. Somebody who just wanted to travel to Britain, because a lot of people used to get on boats in other countries and work their way over to England so they could then come and live here permanently. So there was all different peoples. The movie The Pirates of the Caribbean is so spot on when it comes to like ship history and stuff like that. And I don't mean the creatures coming up from the sea with the tentacles, I'm talking like the people on board. It would have been like that. You'd have had all nationalities getting on at different islands, different places, to get to England, so they could get jobs in the cities. And same like now, people are still migrating to get a better life and stuff. It was the same. London has always attracted people from all over the world, so it's no different. So the EMF meter's not actually going off at the minute. Are you connected to these old anchors? Oh, look, it's flashing. Were you connected to... Were these from your ship? Are there things in this maritime museum which are connected to your ship? Please come closer, we're picking you up. What's your name? You need to really get a spirit talker on or something. Do you want me to take the camera when you get the spirit talker on? See if you can get any messages to him. Because that's picking up now, isn't it?
Yeah,
Right, I'll take it when you do the spirit talker bit. So that's basically the history of Lancaster quay, wharf side. These are original anchors, these. That's how big they were. There's a place in London, Whitechapel, that makes church bells and anchors. And it's actually still there, but obviously now it's modern day, but it's still the original site where they used to make ship's bells and church bells and anchors from all the same iron. So Andy's going to run his paranormal now. Andy's lead investigator. And I do the history.
I'm not lead anything.
Well, I mean, the investigation's your thing, innit, and the history is mine, so that's why it's...
Yeah, you know more about the history than
I think when you come to places like this, it's always good for people to know a bit of the history of, you know, because these buildings are all like museums and houses now, but they all had a big part to play. Okay, so we're going to ask out some questions now.
steps.
Shadows move.
Shadows move.
Where are the shadows?
Where are the shadows?
Up there in the custom house.
The shadows.
Or are the shadows on the wharf side? Offloading goods from the ships.
See where
Are you alright? Maybe a drunken pirate's taking you over. And he's possessed by a drunken sailor.
No, it's not doing it here now.
So it was just here, wasn't it? All these steps are original anyway, to when there was the custom house. Show yourself on the camera if you're there, please.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so we're here, not there.
No, here.
Maybe it was more active down here.
Yeah, it's weird that.
Stacy.
Maybe people queued up on the steps to get in because they were busy, you know, so perhaps people would have got fed up of waiting, weren't they, impatient and stuff.
Yeah, I mean.
I'm in my 30s.
What's your name, please? Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Why you stood here? You stood next to me. You stood next to me. Can you make that go to red?
Always flashing under.
I'm not a tax man or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about that.
We've come to buy some underhand stuff from you, avoid the taxman.
Go and make it go all the way up to red, if you can.
Oh, the lovely sounds of modern day life. Can you imagine what it would have sounded like down here 300-400 years ago? There would have been seagulls flying around,
Well, then again,
and there would have been the hustle and bustle of people day and night, you know, like
probably
trading.
would have been a lot more noisier. And I
It
know
would have
that
been a lot
sounds weird.
noisier.
It would have been a lot more noisier.
19.
19.
Is that your age?
Can you make that go right up to the top?
See, the press gang used to come round and get people to join ships if they couldn't get people to, if they wanted to man a ship. The press gang used to go around the pubs and just get drunken people to sign papers to say, yeah, we're going to join this ship. And then when they'd sobered up, they realised they'd signed onto a ship and they had to go, otherwise they would have ended up in Lancaster, the famous Lancaster Castle.
You make that.
It's flashing there, isn't it? I'll follow you up in case we get anything. Is it going off? Yeah.
No, it's not doing it up here. Oh, yeah,
So people would have queued up on these steps to get in, you know, because they're doing busy. Places like Lancaster only had one custom house. London would have had a few.
Did you come here to pay your taxes on your things that you've bought?
Yeah, they were supposed to declare what they had on the shirt.
Yeah. Can you make those lights go to red, or as far as you can possibly say, and use the energy that's around? Or can you give me your name? We're not here to harm you, we're not here to...
Emma.
Emma,
Alright.
any disrespect, we're not here to take your money, we're not here to take your taxis or send you to prison or anything like that. We're just here to know your story.
Who are you, Emma? What did you do? What was your occupation? What was your life?
Not here with any disrespect. Just want to know your story. If you want us to move on, can you tell us where you would like us to go?
You can carry on along the wharf if you want. There's some other buildings still to do. It's just the let's cross over and we can get a better view from over there. But they're all old buildings anyway on this side. Pubs now, a lot of them, and flats. So this river goes into Morecambe Bay. It's like the estuary, it goes into Morecambe Bay.
Please go right.
Go right? Oh, so we're going back down to the water's edge then?
Yeah.
But all these would have been like pubs, inns, taverns. And one lady.
One lady here.
So the ladies would have worked by the waterside anyway.
Yeah,
They would have helped, you know, in unloading ships and stuff. A lot of them women worked in the fishing trade.
yeah.
Alright, let's go back down here then and see if we get anything else. So you wanted us to turn right. So we're back at the water's edge now. Are you with us? Would you like to come forward and show yourself on the camera? Is this where the big ships came in? There's a bench at the end, so we'll go and sit there, shall we, and just do a bit of paranormal. See what we get here. Because all this would have been busy. There's the original warehouses again. They're all the way down then, but they're all private flats now. Bet they've got some stories to tell. Wonder if any of these residents have had ghosts. I bet they have, you know. I bet they've heard things. Yeah, they were all warehouses. All of them.
Children want to speak.
Children.
Want to speak? Well, they can speak if they want.
Yeah, bring the children forward. Anybody who wants to talk to us. We'd just like to hear your story of your time, what it was like to live here and work here. What are your names, who you were, what did you do, what was your life like? Did any of you end up going into Lancaster Castle? Right, we'll go to this bench and then we can just rest the stuff down for a bit. Carrying a lot of stuff. We were carrying stuff all night long last night, so I think we're feeling it today, aren't we, Andy, a bit? Alright, let's just put our bags down and then we can carry on doing some investigating here then. Alright. Yeah, so we're right on the water's edge now, guys, so we'll just see if anything happens here.
Who are you? What's your name? Is there anywhere else you want us to go to? Anyone else you'd like us to go to? Where? Oh, some light, and come on then.
Yeah, I was trying to put a bit of light
Can you
because
tell
it's
us
a bit dark.
what time you come from?
Anybody like to come forward from the
You're
water,
aware of
perhaps?
me.
I am aware of you, but I need need to know some more about you. Why are you still here? Why are you still here? Why are you still here?
Actually lighting up.
What keeps you here? Why haven't you moved on? Can you tell me your name? Where you are? What happened to you? And why'd you stay here?
Don't provoke us.
No, we're not provoking
No
you.
intention of provoking you.
We're just asking you questions. Actually lighted up, I'll take that off.
Was that you walking past? You look like the living room.
Did it flash then? Yeah, it is flashing. Is that you flashing there?
Can you do that again? Can you make those lights go up to red? It's your child. Thank you.
Maybe he's after your cigarettes out of your cigarette
you do-
box.
Can you do that again?
Are you after Andy's cigarettes? Help yourself if you want one of Andy's cigarettes out of his cigarette box.
Can you make those lights flash up again? Be really good.
The.
The.
The what?
The what? I don't get what you're meaning. The what? You need to tell me a bit more.
What?
Oh, shit.
A shadow? Did you? Whereabouts? Really? There's nobody there. There's nobody there at all. What did you see? Really?
Come down them steps there.
There's nobody there. No, there's no one there. Walk to the top and look down the other side. Well, it will be haunted. I mean, these new steps are kind of replacing the old ones. I'll have a quick walk. The only other person is that guy walking up to the train station. There's nobody there. Yeah, but there's nobody there. There must be ghost people because there's not a single person inside. That guy who walked past is up there on the bridge now walking over. There's literally nobody back here. So whatever that shadow was a shadow. So perhaps it was a ghost then. Looked like a ghost shadow. I could tell by your face you've seen something because you don't let it go. When you've seen something, you won't let it go until you know what it is. So I could tell by your face that you've definitely seen that. I could tell by your face.
No, coming down them steps. I have expected somebody coming round that corner.
Well, let's put the EMF meter on the steps and see if we pick it up then. If that was you coming down the steps, come down again and then we can pick you up. Let's see if you can set that off. Keep your eye and see if that goes off. You can stay there if you want. We're just putting the EMF meter there.
Your throat hurts at the end. So who is
So
it?
were you hung?
Yeah, that's about it, yeah.
Maybe they were hung.
Well, yeah, because they wouldn't have just been.
I mean, they'd have been hung for theft and everything
The
in them
others
days.
scare me.
The others scare.
Were the other people, the other ghosts?
What other who are the others who Can you tell me the names?
Yeah, this whole wharf side would have been busy, but there'd have been a lot of criminal activities as well going on.
There would have been.
And they would have been arrested and taken to the jail. Well, they used to get hung for stealing loaves of bread and anything back then. Children. Didn't matter. Yeah, they all got, they were just hung for sheep stealing. When James Device pinched that sheep at Pendle Hill, he would have been hung for that. I mean, he got took away for being a witch, but he would have been hung for that if they'd have caught him. Yeah, they got hung for sheep stealing because when my dad was tracing the family tree back with my grandma and two great aunties, they went all over the northwest tracing the family tree back, and they got back as far as the 1700s and found out that someone got hung for sheep stealing. And we were all like, brilliant! And they were disgusted because they were all school teachers. They were like, oh no, that couldn't possibly happen in our family tree. And they stopped searching. They didn't want to go any further back in case it got worse.
Yeah,
but that's what happened.
That's what happens to people, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but like the Pendle Hill story where on Easter, the Good Friday meal that they had to plot busting. They never found you? When the witches had the Good Friday meeting at Pendle Hill and had the meal, and they was plotting a way to bust the family out of jail here. They wanted to blow half the wall away to get the family out. James Device stole the sheep to then they could cook it. Sorry, James, because I know he's one of our spirit guides, but that's the story anyway. Respect, man. People walking on the other side of that wall story, it's not paranormal cases. What did you think it was then? Something passing through then that you saw. It's been and gone on it probably, like it's shut off. If it was an active stairwell, that it'd be going off all the time. Getting windy, isn't it? So the sea must be coming in. Who's lived here? Whereabouts? Because there's lots of houses here. Some of these probably were tenements as well. I think the tenements were down there. They turned into factory mills, didn't they, in the end? But now I think they've turned back to houses, flats again now. They were tenements, then they were mills, and now they're exclusive apartments.
Whereabouts did you live?
Sitting on the bench. Oh, the bench. They might mean the judge's bench. The bench was where the judge was, wasn't it, when we were in the courtroom?
Yeah.
So did you go to court at Lancaster prison?
The judge's bench.
What was you up for? What was your crime?
Why were you there?
What did you do? Or what was you accused of doing? Or were you a judge, perhaps? We went round, the judges' lodgings, they all lived up there, didn't they, around that area?
Do you deserve to be in front of the judge?
It sounds like ship's bells over there, but I think it's just somebody rattling pots and pans. Ship's bells. I think it's just somebody cooking, but it sounds like ship's bells. Well, it sounds like a ship's bell. But it's coming from over there. And I think it's something clanking up top, like blowing about in the wind. Do you remember when we did the abandoned at Southport? And there was something blowing about in the wind, and we scared her quick because we thought it was paranormal. Oh, we thought it was homeless people moving about, and it weren't. It was something blowing about in the wind, knocking.
The other things that's come up.
Right at the top, there's still some things hanging down, you know, like where they used to hoist the stuff up. So I think there's something. It sounds like a ship's bell, though, to me. I don't think it's paranormal, Andy. I think it's just the wind blowing stuff. 'Cause I think the tide. It's actually going out the tide because the water's going that way. But it gets winded on it when the tide's either coming in or going out. So this water goes to Morecambe Bay. Now don't put his torch down. Yeah, can you hear that? It sounds like clanking of boats, doesn't it?
Evelyn.
So it's somebody's grandmother.
Evelyn last night. Evelyn come up last
Did
night.
it?
Yeah.
So I wonder if Evelyn is attached to one of the three students that we had with us last night, and that spirit might have followed us because they can make contact. Because when Raymond came through, I know you said it's my dad and stuff, but Vin, the lad who was with us last night, his granddad was called Raymond as well, and I'm thinking that because they had the opportunity to get through, they might want to get through to talk to the grandchildren.
It's the first time, wasn't it? That they've ever...
Well, it's the first time they'd done paranormal. It's the only chance the family's got to make contact. We do it all the time, so there's plenty of time to make contact with us.
Please don't stop.
Please don't stop.
Please don't stop. Oh, she's just flashed.
Really?
That flashed. Yeah.
Do you want to maybe ask more questions then? Who are you, Evelyn?
Who are you, Evelyn?
Did you come to Rivington last night? Were you attached to the young people that were with us? Are you a relative of theirs? Are you a recent ghost? Or are you attached to this wharf side?
And why are you still here?
Ah, Lewis has just said it's one of the witches that you connected up with last night when you got all them ladies' names through.
Evelyn.
Yeah. Lewis is my spirit guide, guides, for those people that don't know.
Somebody connected from last night. One of the witches.
I think because we're doing, it's a Pendle Witch thing we're doing, she's kind of tagged along. I think she used to come here herself because she enjoyed...
Jess.
Did you get Jess last night?
No. I got Evelyn.
Right, so I think she's one of the witches from Rivington. That's what Lewis has just told me anyway.
Yeah.
Lewis is my guardian angel spirit guide for those people watching that don't know. He sometimes gives us information if he can. I always know when Andy's seen something because he behaves like this. He's very restless until he knows what it is. He likes to have that answer. You're still pondering that shadow, aren't you?
Are you having a connection to that pub?
Daddy.
Daddy.
That's what a kid would say, that, wouldn't they?
Kid was grandmother and daddy.
Maybe it's family. Maybe family are gathered here for some reason.
Maybe it was a spot that they used to like.
Yeah, or maybe. I don't know if like the travelling ships came into this. I think they came into Liverpool, like they still do now. They were mostly like working ships that came in here.
Yeah, because...
Well, I was thinking of like a family, you know, like getting on board a liner to go somewhere, but they didn't really come into Lancaster. They left from Liverpool. This was always like a working dock, not really a dock, but it's always been like an old wharf side.
Yeah, yeah.
There's not been any sort of pleasure cruises gone from here or boats like that, just goods coming in. That's why we've got the custom house and stuff up there. Whereas Liverpool, it was for everything. And even now the big cruise liners leave from Liverpool.
So who are you? Are you the one who made the shadow?
There's something else that Lewis told me as well, but he told me actually today. You know George's Lane? It's named George's Lane after the horseman. The horseman was called George.
Yeah, that would. Yeah.
And I think they named that lane after George because that's where the most sightings of him have been along there.
Go left. That's that way.
Yeah. Do you want to go back up there then? We'll head back up that way because we've only 5 more minutes anyway. We've had some interesting things come through.
Yeah, that was.
It's quiet though, isn't it? When you think of like London, it's non-stop there, and then here it's like there's nobody here at all. That's what surprised me about Rome, the River Tiber. It was like this. There was literally nothing and nobody down the back. Whereas you go to like the River Seine in Paris and the Thames in London and other rivers, and it's all happening, isn't it? Bars and restaurants and pleasure cruises. The Tiber, there was nothing, was there, going on there?
No.
Just a green river.
Yeah, I mean it's, and I can't understand why nobody's sort of doing anything with it like that. I mean, it's just strange that nobody's even attempted to make anything out. Choking.
Yeah, well that would refer to hanging, wouldn't it, choking?
Yeah.
If somebody's been hung. Because don't forget, they were all brought here in the northwest for that, so... We've had a lot of messages relating to... Yeah, please, if you can just take it. We've had a lot of messages relating to that, haven't we? Like sore neck, sore throat, choking.
Yeah.
And these are people that probably would have been hung for whatever the crime, you know, whatever they've done. But there's so much more to this city.
Oh,
With
God,
it being a Saturday night and all the pubs and bars are open, it's a
Yeah.
bit hard to get around and do some of the areas, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we'll walk back up the quayside.
Yeah.
And do you want me to take the MF meter?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to take the camera?
Oh,
I'll take the camera then.
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll go back up the water side just in case we get anything else. We'll head back to the Three Mariners Inn. 'Cause, I mean, we never know what's going to come up on camera until we play it back. So many times we've had voices and, you know, just breaths or, you know, little ghostly moans or lots and lots and lots of footage that we've shot now. You know, when we've watched it back, there's been sounds. And one of the ones was at Southern Cemetery, Manchester, when we were walking amongst the graves, sort of towards the beginning. We heard somebody humming, didn't we, in the background? It was only me and you. We heard like a lady humming.
Yeah, I mean, and so there's nothing that, because we were miles away from the road. It's a huge place. We were miles away from anybody. There was nobody there.
Environment.
There was nobody about. So yeah, it's a strange one. That.
So a lot of the time, you know, a lot of the time we don't actually hear this stuff. We just film it. You know, it's when we get home and load it up, watch it back, we see, oh, we've got an orb, or we hear like different sounds coming through, and that's when we know we've got stuff. So it's like the same here. You know, you guys are probably going to see it before we do. So if you hear anything unusual or you see anything, then please, you know, leave us a comment and let us know. Like, thanks to Ghosts Beyond for doing that for us, pointing out some footage in Rivington Castle that we'd missed. We don't always get the chance to see all the programmes back, so we rely on you guys, you know, to let us know if you pick up stuff.
When I think about it, I remember that one. I think you did hear something in there.
Did I? I can't remember now. It was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think you did hear something in there.
Okay, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, you did. I remember you saying.
Yeah.
You'd gone in. If it's the part there, I do remember you saying
Dead
that.
don't rest.
Dead don't rest.
Yeah, well, I guess that's... Some don't, though, do they, if they're walking about as ghosts?
No. You can move on. There's no need for me to still be here.
We're back at the George and Dragon. But these pubs would have had different names back then. They'd have been named after, you know, things to do with the ship, like it probably was called the Ship Inn or something.
Yeah, he would have. Yeah. These are all the old.
I love that one that's leaning. Look at that. If you cross the river, it proper looks good from over there, doesn't it? They're all leaning really, but you can't really tell because we're close to them. But that one there, you can't really miss
You
it.
know, some of them look new on the outside.
Yeah, but they're not though.
But they are
It's been well renovated.
still rocking at the Georgian Dragon.
Yeah, well, it's late here at Lancaster, isn't it? Because it's student city. It's the uni's a big uni here. We should know. We've been to it. Not as well. We went. Me and Andy used to be. You know what story I'm going to tell the viewers now. So me and Andy used to do Samaritans. We did it for 4 years, and we used to come here to do the university. They used to run courses teaching you how to deal with certain calls and what have you. And there was always a fancy dress every year, and it was a 70s night.
Oh yeah.
It was a 70s night. And Andy came second prize because he had on a big afro and he had on a pink chiffonic like shirt with flowers all over it. He had crushed velvet pink flares and high heel boots of mine and a furry body warmer, and he was doing the Boogie Wonderland and all the 70s numbers, and he come second prize. And the day after, when they said stand up, we want to give you second prize, he stood up looking like that, and they were all like, no way, are you the guy that who was dancing last night with the afro? The funniest bit when we walked past the students' cafe, wasn't it? There were all the students in there, like working and eating and working at the same time, and he walked past with his high heel boots and his afro and his crushed velvet pink flares, and all the students just looked up and stared at him, and they're like,
yeah, the Chinese.
What the hell? Is this new student come to uni here? Who is he? He's cool, man. He even had those flipping star-shaped sunglasses as well, Kelton John style. Hey, you got second prize.
I got second prize.
And you got a lot of flipping admirers too, over 70.
Explain that device.
It's changing the subject now.
I'm not.
You were the calendar pin-up for the Samaritans that year.
Not really much opposition though, was there? To explain that. I mean,
Anyway, we're going to head here. We'll show you the new Millennium Bridge. So we've gone from Ancient Wharf to brand new bridge. Same like London really, same like most cities. So that's the latest edition. And those are the latest lunatics now that live in Lancaster. It's probably the police actually, isn't it? I'm saying that. It's probably the police chasing. Why?
at that speed, yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's a lunatic or the police.
Probably just a lunatic.
Okay, anyway, we're going to end this shoot right now here. So, once again, thank you for joining us on this journey, St.Georges, Quay, Lancaster. And we'll see you at the next location. Take care. Thanks for watching.
Good day.
And thanks for subscribing.